All right. Andre, sorry about that. Can you hear me all right? Daniel, how's it going? Yeah, it was the video, mate. The video was all fucking laggy. I know what it is. It's this latency issue I've had since Windows updated its fucking drivers. And it's been absolutely killing me with this latency issue. Bio, hey. The connection's all right now. The connection's all right. It's the video because I bought this WK, all right, man. I bought this Deval 582, all right, man. I bought this webcam software for my phone to turn my phone into a webcam because I didn't want to buy another one and add to landfill. And I had to install all these drivers in my phone and on my computer to make it work because it's Android, right? So it works, but there's a latency issue there, which I've still got to sort out, but it's all good. Anyway, I'll wait till this fills up a little bit. We're getting there, and then I'll get back into my fucking chat, which is going to lead into the futility of it all, part 2. All right? So anyway, where was I? I was saying that when I was really fucking slim and I was like eating just rice and jam and stuff like that, and I was down to like 8% body fat and all that fucking shit, and I was 5.5 watts per kilo. That was great, but I don't think that is really sustainable for a very long time. George C, how's it going, mate? There's no ladies in here. Dita might be in here, but she's more than a lady. All right, not like that. Okay. So anyway, I don't think it's sustainable for a very long time. So I sort of quit riding. I quit Strava. I think that's what it was. And then when I got off Strava, I realised that I was sort of addicted to Strava. And when I got off Strava, I was like, hang on a minute, I don't have to put in 500k a week and 4,000 meters of climbing to be happy. And I'd known that I know I have done that. I know that I can do it, and I can fucking shred any cunt, right, on the fucking hills and on the flats when I'm at my absolute peak. But I've sort of peaked there, and I wanted to get into something else. So it's like overall fitness training and stuff, and I felt sort of better in myself after a bit and all that kind of shit. Anyway, whatever. This is Nancy talk. But yeah, that's it. So, anyway, Stravaholics. I think Strava addiction is a thing, right? I think it is. Getting annoyed with myself for missing a KOM by 1 second is fucking, thinking back, that is quite mental. Although, you know, why not? Fuck it, everyone needs a goal, right? But yeah, it's very, very silly. Before we get into the futility of it all, we're going to do some audio chat because home counties, if you're watching this, mate, I know that you slagged off my audio quality last time, and fair enough, because it did sound like a Bush Walkman from the 90s. I now know why that was, because I had a dodgy plugin I was using. I was using a FabFilter compressor where the authorization key kept on failing, all right? You can accuse me of using pirated software if you want. I'm not saying I was. Authorization keys do sometimes fail in software that you've bought. Notice the way I'm speaking here, like a lawyer. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I was using stolen software, just the authorization key wasn't working, and it's possible for authorization keys to not work sometimes, all right? And then that was causing, when that fails, it reduces the bit rate and it boosts up the gain in to make your sound shit, and then eventually it just turns to white noise. They put a white noise thing over the top of it, and then it fucks up. So that was that. The sound this time will be better because I'm no longer using a FabFilter Pro C compressor as the first plugin in my audio chain. I'm using, and let's get into this, I'm using, first of all, a Sonauxis from Liverpool, UK compressor. That's a mono compressor, and I've got about a 3.3 to 1 ratio there. I'm just sort of touching into the, I'm just shaving a little bit off the top there, just to run it through a compressor with a bit of auto gain on it to bring it up to where it sort of should be. Fairly soft knee at the top, just cutting the peaks off when I go and stuff like that. Next, after that, I've got a FabFilter Pro de-esser to take the sibilance out. Then I'm using a EQ, right, where I'm boosting up the lows around my lowest, around the fundament of my voice, which is approximately about 100 100 hertz, all right? And then I'm rolling it off down in the middle I'm taking about half a decibel off around 2,500 mark, and I'm boosting the high slight to give it that millennial shimmer, all right? And then, I've stuck another compressor on the end, all right? If that fucks up, I'm sorry, all right? But I haven't stolen anything, before you fucking get onto me, All right, what we're saying. So, Andre had to delete his account in 2014. I can see how it goes, man. And Daniel's saying just ride. Yeah, I think that's right. They got to a point where I didn't even bother to put on cycling clothes, shorts and Rafa and all that sort of shit. They got to a point where I was going on bike rides with not head to toe in Rafa, which just shows you how far I'd fallen out of love with it. I was going cycling in just a pair of Uniqlo knee-length shorts, which I'm wearing now, with no pants on, which was an interesting sensation. You have to sort of toughen your undercarriage up a bit, don't you? Get a bit of a fucking knuckle and rind on your undercarriage to be able to handle the seat pain. And then and I was just wearing a t-shirt, right, and a helmet, and just these glasses. Well, no, not these ones. The ones I had before that someone, not a million miles away from me, dropped half a bed on and snapped in half, and I had to go and spend another $400 on. Yeah, so I wasn't really giving a shit. And and I was just doing little rides, like going 20k and going up a hill and going back home again and just going, oh, it's nice to be out in it. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Cycling memes. Hello, mate. So you got back into the stream. Cheers. Dax Awards. They're much less high intensity. 200k ride, one a month for a year. Yeah, I mean, I'm into that. But I don't know. I'm sort of an all or nothing guy. Like, I know that if I decide to get back into cycling, I will just go fucking ham on it again, because I'm like that with anything. I don't know, addictive personality or some shit. I don't know, whatever it is. It's the Adolf Hitler in me. Yeah. I think maybe when I'm like 70, I might get into. Well, how do you say Audux? Is it Aldux? I don't know. All-Tekka riding. I might get into that when I'm like 70, and I can't. I'm only like 5.4 watts per kilo when I'm 70 instead of being 5.5. You know. Audacious, Audax. Yeah, like All-Tekka. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my audio chain. We're going to get into the futility of everything now. Right. So let me ask you a lot of question. Do you feel like there's no point in everything, in anything? Do you ever get that sensation? Do you ever get that feeling where you're like, what is the point? And do you ever start to question life? And do you ever start to question not just your life, but like the life of the generations you've seen come before you, and what you can predict for the future generations? So, for example, over like a sort of 300-year period, do you just sort of go, well, I'm only Delta says everything's predetermined. We'll get into that later. Bayo says he's had that feeling for 5 years. All right, cool. Well, all right, lads. Well, we're this is going to be this live stream may be going on for quite some time this evening. Dita's watching Homeland on her earphones in the living room on a fucking gigantic TV, so she won't be doing anything tonight. Yeah, so I don't know what it is, whether it's like every bloke who gets to like his 40s starts to think this, but I don't know, it's like I don't think that I've become jaded, and I don't think I've sort of become sick of life. I think I've just started to see, I really get it now. And you start to realize, you start to understand your own mortality when you get to your 40s, right? And you start to think, well, hang on a minute, I have done some fucking pretty heavy shit in my life. Hello, Hambini. I've done some pretty heavy shit in my life, and I've had a lot of successes, but I still, like, where's it got me? Like, for example, The successes I've had in my life, yeah, I'll list them to you. One was like I managed to like move to another country and live in Japan for many years. And when I did that and I got there, I was like, fucking hell, I've managed to like move to another country, and it was not even that hard. Or I had to go through sacrifices. I had to sell all my old shit in England, and I had to get myself a visa and a job and fucking all that shit and learn a language. And when you get there, you're like, oh, is that it? All right, cool. And then you realise, all right, well, you know, millions of people have done it before, and then who gives a shit? And then when I got clean, I was like, all right, that was fucking epic. And I almost was, I don't know whether I was expecting a round of applause or not, but that fucking certainly didn't come. And then I got really, really fit, like extremely good at riding and fucking mad on it and just killing everything. And then that sort of ended. And then I look back and then I'm like, oh, well, all right. Loads of people have done it before, and then nothing's ever sort of, you didn't gain anything from it, do you? And then I've made fucking tons of money on the stock exchange by my own intelligence and wiliness and ability to observe things and learning about systems and learning deep macro, microeconomics, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, bloody Ichimoku, Kinko, Hyo, indicators and moving averages and fucking all that shit, right? Where did that get me? Nowhere, right? I'm like, oh, great. I can look at my bank now and I got a bit of money in it now. I can buy a Herman Miller chair, and I can buy Dura Ace, and I can buy this stuff. But when I wake up every day, I'm just like, well, who gives a shit? And you get a car, and you go driving in your car, and everyone else on the road's a cunt, and you think, like, well, why would I even get anything other than just an entry-level or mid-range car, right? Elliott Wave's Fibonacci, oh yeah, exactly, George, all that fucking shit. And people like me, I'm gonna say I'm not a pioneer, but I'd like to take credit in being instrumental, or perhaps a beacon of some sort. And there are other beacons involved here, and one of them's in the chat tonight. His name's Hambini, right? And there are other beacons about unraveling the bullshit behind the whole cycling industry stuff, and like getting more people aware of like they're being ripped off, and more people aware of supply chains. And when I made that how to make your own fake wheel company video, I think I might have taught people a little bit about, you know, how everything just comes from a factory in China and it's all just branding. And I guess a lot of people knew that already. Maybe they just found it funny that I was voicing it in such a way, but maybe there were a lot of people who didn't understand it. And I used to get messages a lot when I made that like 3 years ago going, fuck you. That was like doing a 3-year economics and finance degree in half an hour. Cheers, man. All that fucking shit. Right. So I think I've been instrumental in doing that, but it's like, I don't know, like, what is the point? There's not, like, in the amount of time that a human is alive, it's not long enough to see real change on a sort of impressive and an actual noticeable scale, is it? Even like a few hundred years, you'd have to be alive to really, really notice something epic. You need to be a vampire, right? I think you can see I dream of being a vampire. If some vampire came in here today and said, you'll never see sunlight again, right? Can I bite you and you live forever? I'd say fucking yes, now, do it now, right? I don't want to be 1 second older, and I'd go in there and I'd bite Dita on the tit and turn her into a vampire, and that'd be it, right? And I would live for fucking ever in the darkness. I would do that. That would be that's it for me. That's the ultimate. Because then I could see the end of time, and I could see it all change, and I could see if my predictions came true. But the amount of time that we live as individuals isn't long enough to see anything. And you only really start to sort of appreciate it when you're getting fucking halfway through it. You know? So it's like, Johnny says, all right, Johnny, that is interesting. That's interesting. Johnny says there's no good that can ever come in questioning our place in the universe and what we can achieve. So why not try and just enjoy and live day to day rather than finding some deeper meaning? Yeah. I mean, I do agree with that. it to the like kind of ignorance is bliss, or like live in the moment and all that sort of thing. Because if you like, it's a road. I mean, for every human, it's all a road to nowhere, isn't it? Right? It's all a road to nowhere. So if you start to question it and you start to say, what the fuck, you're never gonna, even if you get the answer, it's meaningless anyway. So I think that in a sense, Johnny, you are right there, mate, in that we should just fucking forget about it and chill. But once you've opened Pandora's box of considering these things, and once you do live in a time where I think it's a difficult time to live in now, because we have the ability to record things. We have the ability to record and review things in high definition now. So there's no, you don't have to just remember things, and you don't have to, you don't have to remember things, and then you don't have to suffer from rose-tinted memories. You can video things and in HD and know what they're like now, and know what the past was like in phenomenal detail. So you can see, you can look back. Like, for example, recorded music now. You can listen to stuff by people who are dead now, who didn't die early, who died of natural aging, and you can listen to their music in high definition now, and you can listen to everything. No one's life isn't long enough to really appreciate the giant changes that are viewable in recorded media, I think is what I'm trying to say, right? So I know that it is, I think it's a healthy message to say let's live in the moment, but everything we do now is just looking at shit that's happened before, that's been videoed, and looking at things and seeing other lives and all that sort of stuff. So we can't live in the moment. We'd have to shut ourselves, we'd have to blinker ourselves down so hard to be able to live in the moment. It would be almost impossible. I'd say impossible nowadays to do that. So I do agree with you, mate, but I think that we can't, right? Magnus, like the girl, you just want to stand at the crossing to observe everything for eternity. I think I do, mate. I think I do. I think I want to stand at the crossroads of time and observe everything for an infinite amount of time, from the beginning to the end. And hopefully there's no end. I just want to keep it going, keep observing and keep interacting in my own way with reality, observing the changes forever. I do not want to not see what happens, right? And I think that's actually quite a sad, I think I'm not alone in that, right? But I think that there is quite depressing or humbling, or really makes you feel like it's futile. It's a futile thought to be like that, because you know that it's going to end. I mean, I'm 41, right? In fact, by the time I'm 80, I'm not going to be as agile as I am now, right? Physically and maybe even mentally, right? It's almost like age. It's almost like as you get older, like that, you're slowly injected with a sleeping potion, so that all these dreams and passions and stuff that you had when you were younger just get muted out, and you stop considering them, and you stop thinking about them, and you don't really mind about the oncoming darkness. You don't mind about it slipping away from you, because you've become uncaring, or you've become like the speed of your mind is incompatible with your previous lusts and desires and visions. I suppose in a way, like being a child and then becoming an adult, you just sort of forget the childish way of thinking. So maybe in a way, like all these things I'm saying now are sort of childish ways of thinking compared to somebody who's much older, who then sees life for what it truly is. I don't know. But I would have thought like by now I could sort of get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fucking ultimate doom merchant. I hope I am. All right. I hope that's what I'm remembered for. Yeah. Do any of you lot feel like this? Do you feel trapped in your physical body in the sense that your physical body is not going to last forever, but you feel like your spirit could have the ability to sort of phantom itself through time forever? All right? That's what I reckon. I wish, I want whoever they is, them, to fucking well hurry up and make it so we can download our brains into some sort of Matrix style infinite realm, which could then itself be merged or spliced with reality that we have now, and to come and go from that so that we can live forever, right? But we could, sorry, that was that ASMR burp I just did. They can, they can. I'm sure they can, mate, yeah. When's it going to be, how long do you reckon it's going to be before like this what do you call it? This AI interface that we carry around with us, our phones, all that sort of thing, just go into our minds, so we do become one with the machine. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Let's try into, okay, so Andre and high impact cycling memes have touched on this. So like the concept that you can live forever through your actions and your influences, whether you are there to experience them in the first hand or not, or whether you are entirely aware of them or not, you would actually be setting these things up for future generations to sort of keep you alive in an odd way, even though you're not actually alive there. I do wonder, this is getting into, isn't it, like questioning what happens after you die, after your physical body dies, and whether, you would be able to sort of observe reality through some sort of consciousness after you die, whether you become part of a group consciousness or some sort of spiritual ether, or whether you are still an individual spirit somewhere, housed somewhere, or I don't know, assimilated somewhere into the Borg, the void. Yeah. Johnny, that's a very interesting point. I'm not sure whether it's self-preservation, because that would be some sort of evolved protection system, wouldn't it? But I think that it's almost like it has to be that way. Like our mental faculties have to decline when we get older, because if we're fresh as a daisy when we're older, we see ourselves falling apart. That would be even more distressing than if we were sort of slightly muted like it is now, like in reality. I do think though that it must be very hard for people whose bodies deteriorate and die prematurely, who have the mental capacities of someone who's in the middle of their life, but then just know they're going to die. Like people who are diagnosed with a terminal illness must be experiencing this sort of existential crisis that I clearly am, and you lot clearly are from what you're saying in the chat. They must be experiencing that on a fucking ridiculously amplified level. So yeah, that must be fucking absolutely horrendous. That must be fucking horrendous. Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about before, I didn't really plan for this one. I just sort of thought, right, I'm going to talk about the idea of. In fact, someone suggested it to me in the comment thread that started about a few weeks ago. Life is a terminal disease. Yeah, it's true. A few weeks ago when I said, what should I talk about in these new live streams? So I got I'm sat in this chair that's about to fall apart, mate, 'cause my Herman Miller ain't turned up. Yeah, because I ain't bought it. And someone said the futility of everything, right? For some reason that piqued my, I liked that tickled my brain, the idea of fucking everything being completely futile, right? And I thought, what am I going to talk about? And I didn't really plan it at all. Sometimes I kind of plan these live streams. I like tap a few things out in Word or whatever and go, I'll talk about that, and I'll refer back to it. But I've just been sort of fucking vibing it recently because I can't be fucking at work all day in it on a computer. But I did have the idea that I wanted to talk about scale, right? Like the scale of things and wondering where things are going to go. So as we know, there's been exponential growth in a lot of things that humanity have been responsible for making in current times. Now, that's not to say that, nothing was done until 50 years ago. Totally not true. I've been to ancient Greece, mate. I've seen the fucking stuff they got going on there. Holy fuck. It just took them a bit longer. But I do wonder what cyanide-based strong zero. You don't even need to lace it with fucking. You don't even need to lace it with cyanide, mate. Just strong zero would be enough to fucking off yourself. Yeah. I challenge anyone. Let's just talk about strong zero for a second. I challenge anyone to drink in one night, in one sitting, 7 of the 500 milliliter cans of strong zero. It can't be done, right? If anyone does it, I'll give them my fucking bike. It can't be done. If anyone does it, I'll give them my KOM, my 6 pages of KOMs. I'll just say you did them, right? Because you've done the ultimate fucking challenge. Anyway, so in terms of scale, I think earlier on I was talking about my frustration about the average human's life not being long enough to really see change on a vast, long, epic scale. I studied history at university, which might have something to do with this, but I realised that there are vast changes that happen over time. But I'm wondering where we are now, right, in time, where we've got pretty good technology, but it's not perfect yet, and we've got society like it is. Let's not get into the whole. Let's not get political because I'm bored of that fucking shit. Let's talk about more lofty things. What is the next 100 years going to look like, given where we are, given the direction that things are going in, and given how futile things are, and given how me bringing up this topic has basically triggered you into talking about how depressed you are about reality, right? What's the next 100 years going to look like in whatever aspect of life you want to talk about, and then we'll get into them topics together today, now, all right? What's the next 100 years going to look like in whatever you want to, in whatever little niche aspect of things you want to talk about? Next 100 years in bikes, next 100 years in pretending that you're pretending that you are that you've got a knob and you've got a fanny. Next 100 years in strong zero consumption, strong zero production. Next 100 years in Dura Ace. All right. Next 100 years in Yamaha speakers. So Magnus is saying it's going to be variations on a theme. All right. Yeah. I do think that's right, because there's been no absolutely new. Now, Hambini can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think I am. There's been no absolutely new materials, usable mass production materials, since carbon fibre, right? There's been some innovations in plastics, but there I'm going to say variations on a theme. I do want to say, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think carbon fibre was the last real nodal point in material creation that can be used. Graphene. All right. Graphene, yeah, but graphene's nowhere near being usable, is it? Or nowhere near being used to its full potential, i.e. like being a 2D material, right? A 2D material that can stop a bullet or whatever, right? Some sort of perfectly uniform atomic layout. Is that right? Is that what graphene is? Some a 2D perfectly aligned atomic structure that can stop a bullet. You can't even fucking see it. It's that thin, but it can stop a bullet. Absolutely mental, Yeah, like the stern, like as potent and powerful yet untouchable as the stern gaze from a very, very disgruntled middle-aged woman working on a checkout in Woolworths in Australia, who served me the other day, who I tried to make some funny banter with about, I can't remember what it was, something slightly flirty banter with her, and she just grabbed the cake I had in my hand, swiped it through and went, $5, and then just tutted as I walked out the shop. As strong as that, all right, as rigid and immovable as her gaze, right. Good choice of time. All right, we've got some comments have all just come in. Bill, we'll get into Woolies in Australia in a bit, mate. I know. I was as shocked as you. All right, Para, mate. How's it going? Let me just read back through the comments because we've had a bumper batch come in. George C says graphene's in bike tyres. Yeah, why are you putting fucking graphene in bike tyres? It just rubs off on the road. The dream would be people cycling to work. Okay, so Nick is, you're talking about like behavioural, like daily behavioural activities influenced by shifts in infrastructure and transport technology. Yeah, could do. I think this whole working from home thing is probably going to take off a bit more, isn't it? Because people are like, hang on a minute, why am I fucking commuting? I can just do it from home, sit in my pajamas. Yeah, I can literally send an email. I can click the mouse. I can click send on an email with my right hand, while slightly off screen, have my hand on my actual girlfriend's naked tit. Something you can't do in the office, right? Not in the last 30 years anyway. Johnny is saying, first of all, good choice of time quantum. Cheers, mate. Because 20 years isn't long enough to affect real change. Like Magnus says, it'll just be minor evolution, but 100 years, that's a significant period of time. Thanks, man. That's why I chose it. I was like, 20 years, no. Because I remember the last 20 years and I ain't done much. Dale says, I'm sure the three... Oh, my fucking mouse is going berserk. 3 nanograms of graphene is super worthwhile. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Dale, I reckon that those 3 nanograms of graphene really help with cornering, right? Especially cornering, or they help with climbing when you need grippy tyres when you're going at most 24 kilometers per hour. Slim people will be a global minority in 100 years. Right, Bayo, here's some good news, right, for humanity and probably men in general. Because, all right, here's a bit of that kind of chat. It's never been easier to be, but I'm talking about like off the internet, right? In actual daily life, like on the internet, right? Let me talk about this. It's very, very difficult to be attractive on the internet with your body unless you're like taking photographs from stupid angles and lighting things from the top so you can see all your six pack and all that kind of shit. Promoting yourself and being a hot guy on the internet, you need to be manipulating yourself, taking things from stupid angles, and it's difficult, right? But that's a fake reality. In reality, in the real world, because everyone's getting fatter, and no matter what people say, fat blokes are not as attractive as slim blokes, or fit blokes, right? Plus, you don't even have to be that fucking slim to be slim, right? We're not talking like I used to be, like fucking 8% body fat, all that. That's not attractive. I'm just saying, not fat. It's never been easier to be attractive, right, for a man as it is nowadays in reality, all right? So you lot just keep going out on your bikes a bit and just basically just trying to be fit, and you are by comparison, because that's all that it ever is you are going to get more attractive over the years by just staying the same, right? It's brilliant because everyone's getting fatter, right? I recently built my own computer. In fact, I'm gonna live stream tomorrow's live stream. We're doing tech talk, right? That's what I've decided. We're doing tech talk tomorrow. But I built my own computer recently, and I had to go down these computer shops to pick up the components. And fuck me, lads, there's some chunky boys down there nowadays. I'll tell you that much. Fuck. I wouldn't like to be building computer chairs nowadays. You need to get Ambini to fucking spec them up for you, right? And then get a artisan steel bike company to make the fucking chassis, right? Maybe that's what they could do when people eventually give up buying artisan steel bike frames. Anyway, where was I going? Johnny says, if you think about what has happened in the last 100 years, wow, so the next 100 years should bring significant change. Yeah, but has it been like a bit of an S curve though? I'm getting an S curve vibe from the last 100 years. I'm getting the sort of vibe where it changed rapidly, then it's sort of chilled out a bit. So I think but the next 100 years could be nuts. All right. Woolies in Australia. Yes, they have Woolworths in Australia, but it's not Woolworths that that shit place that went bankrupt. They used to sell like really crap trainers, pick a mix, Michael Jackson cassettes, and school uniforms, like real ones, no connection to Michael Jackson there, and the other stuff that just went bankrupt. It's a supermarket here, weirdly. Population peak, yeah. Population peak is going to change, and the age pyramid is going to shift, and they're going to be way more old people. Beryllium tweeters, Para, right? I'm going to just call you Para. I don't know what a beryllium tweeter is, right? But tomorrow's live stream is the tech live stream. I've just decided one of the topics we're going to talk about tomorrow, because it sounds great, is beryllium tweeters. All right, that's what we're talking about tomorrow. High Impact Cycling Meme says, what we might see is the UCI's double diamond design rules being chucked. Yeah, so they can all ride on Graham O'Brien street luge. Yeah, Biker Sherlock. Shout out to Biker Sherlock, yeah? Biker Sherlock style fucking street luge, those lay down things, which I used to take the piss out of, but I'll probably end up on one. Dave Pinney says Woolies have a pick and mix. They do actually. There's one aisle in Woolies in Woolworths, right? Here, in Woolies in Woolworths, what did I say? There's one aisle in Woolies here that has a sort of pick and mix section, but they've snazzed it up a bit. They've made it all out of teal and grey. They've probably got the Designers Republic. They nicked a Designers Republic design and got Tex Market to make up their fucking thing. And they nicked the label grammar from What Hi-Fi. But they sort of do have pick and mix. But it's all modern shit that's good for you. Yeah. Vittoria tyres are shit. Yes, they are. Gullible dentists and bankers need graphene in their tyres. They do. Because those bankers those dentists need to save money. Let's get into Vittoria. Fucking Vittoria are shit. I bought a Vittoria tyre once for 8,000 yen, and it got a slash in it 3 minutes after I started riding on it. Well annoying. Culture shock. All right, mate. I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I'm getting back into live streaming, even though clearly the last two live streams, this one and the one from yesterday, are indicative of me having some severe existential crisis, but whatever. A VR workplace you can access from home. Yeah, I mean, Zoom is sort of that. I might do a live stream on what I do for a job as one of them as well, because you might be interested in that. The stuff I could tell you about my job and about how we do it all from home, and because I work in finance, right? Because I'm one of them cunts. The stuff that we do online now for work is really nuts, and the way that we work and the way that people communicate, and like the speed that things get done, and like all the payment gateways and the fucking markups and the leverage manipulation and like the liquidity, like all that sort of shit. I could tell you a heap of mad interesting stuff about what it's like to work for a broker nowadays, virtually from home. Fuck. Don't even need an office. It's fucking crazy. And we'll talk about another live stream, but you might be interested in this. Anyway. Rasmussen Slim, not sure what that means. Is he a cyclist? Is he? Thick computer people. Yep. That's gonna like that. Yeah. You don't have to be thick to use a computer, but it helps. Yeah. So culture shock, talking about building a PC, right? We're gonna do building PCs. We can talk about working for a broker. The effect of looking better by comparison increases ever more as you get older. Rainer, yes, I do. I think that's true, and I think weirdly, right? Because I managed to be good looking when I was in my late 30s, and I think that there's a cut-off point, isn't there? I don't know if you guys have been on Reddit recently, but there's a whole underbelly of unhappy men on there talking about this sort of thing. But like, there's this concept that there comes a point in a person's life when they, what do you call it? When you hit the wall, right? When you are no longer as attractive as you used to be when you were younger, and it's just downhill from here, right? That sort of that you reach your attractive peak, and then right. And I think that I don't think I've hit the wall yet. I think I'm all right. But like, I think that the older you get, the more people who have like hit the wall and fallen away who used to be attractive. So that you are sort of, it's like you're how do I describe this? You're trying to run up a slipping sand dune made of hot guys, and you're scrambling to get to the top, but there's nothing at the top, and you're just supported by all the bodies that fall underneath you, but you keep fucking going up there, and you're still hot, and it's okay, but there's nothing at the top because there's no goal at the top, and eventually you'll fall as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. Fighting a losing battle against the wall of dead hot guys underneath you. I mean, if you can imagine it, there's porn of it, right? Anyway, the next 100 years, all cars will be self-driving. Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm interested in that. My car fucked up several times, right? But one of the times it did, I got a loan car, which was a newer version of the car that I've got. I say it's Dieter's car, and it had adaptive cruise control, steering fucking assistance, and cruise control, right? So it was a Volkswagen. You could sit in this fucking car, set the speed to what you want, and it will just go along the motorway. It will keep a distance between the car in front of you and you, safe distance, and it will steer you, and you can see the fucking wheel doing that around the roads. And it's not even a proper self-driving car. That's just cars now. Fuck, man. I was shocked when I got in that. That was one thing. That was a real turning point for me to feel that, to witness that. And fuck, I thought, Christ, I really felt the power of technology then. And I also was very, very worried then about the power of AI. Right? Fucking hell. Yeah. So yeah. It's incredible. Bayo's out of the wall, isn't he? We all hit the wall, don't we, eventually? My cat's fucking hit the wall. It's got all grey. My commute at the moment, shall I tell you about my commute, lads? It's fucking nuts. I wake up, right? I roll over. I grab my girlfriend's ass for a bit. Then I roll the other way, and I get out of bed, stand up, and go, ugh. Then I shuffle like a samurai. Yep, doing suriashi across the floor like that. Sit on the toilet, do a piss, stand up, put the coffee machine on Nespresso, cunt, right? Press the little thing, it goes. Dieter's laying in bed going, with the cat sat on her, just annoyed because I'm making a noise with the coffee machine. Then I shuffle out, turn my rig on, sit down and go, ugh. Then I think, hang on a minute, What am I doing with life? Stand up and do some like squats like a Japanese guy in the morning and go, yoisha, like that. Do little morning exercises. Sometimes I even put on them Japanese Naji or Taisho things, whatever it's called, the morning Japanese exercises, and I do them. And then, Oi, Hayden, we're going to get into sitting down to have a piss. Sitting down to have a piss. Sitting down to have a piss. There's nothing wrong with sitting down to have a piss, right? Standing up to have a piss is, unless you are in a public toilet, is fucking stupid. Why wouldn't you sit down to have a piss? I've had a giant argument throughout most of my life about this. There's nothing funny or fruity about sitting down to have a piss if it's your house, right? The only reason you don't do it in a public toilet is because you're sitting on a load of other blokes' arse butter and just disgustingness. So you might as well just stand up and piss. Plus you're in and out quick. But if you're at home, fuck that shit. Especially if you're in Japan with a heated toilet seat, man. Luxury. Yeah. Fuck that. Sit down, have a piss, right? TDI cult rules about going to the toilet is the toilet is polished, clean, scrubbed clean, constantly, right? And you sit down to have a piss, that's fine. Okay? Totally fine. It's fucking true, man. I stand up to shit, though. Right? I like to mix it up a bit. Anyway, let's move on. Raina says, half Asian, I'm hoping I won't get hit by the wall until 60. Yeah. Raina, I'm assuming you're a man. If you're a half Asian man, you're good to go, mate, until you're fucking 110. And you're just going to keep getting stronger and just like more fucking great. Keep going, mate. Brilliant. I had some fucking phenomenal times in Japan with the older guys there. I got an 83, 84-year-old mate I used to go riding with. he used to be able to do 400 watts for 2 minutes. There's videos on my Instagram about it. He could hardly fucking string a sentence together. I think he was mainly just drunk on strong zero the whole time, but he was still going. And he did 230k rides 3 times a week. Fucking absolute. He's fucking brilliant, right? And he used to tell me, right? When I first started talking to him, I thought I wasn't as good at Japanese. Wasn't as good at speaking Japanese as I thought I was. But it turns out he would mumble like fuck. Anyway, I got it out of eventually that his life. He'd been retired for like 20 odd years, but he used to train every day. He'd do these like 100-kilometer fucking walks, like from shrine to shrine that the samurais used to do in Japan in his 80s. Yeah. And then he said, do you know one of the secrets to keeping yourself young? I was like, what's that? He goes, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. He's like, training, of course. Eat a bit of fish, bit of rice, yeah, and fuck your wife. That was it. Old Japanese men are fucking incredible. They're absolutely brilliant. I love them. I'd like to somehow be able to adopt one. I don't know if that works. Yeah, I love it. Whenever I'm feeling like, oh fucking hell, 40, 41, I go on YouTube and look at an old Japanese man doing something and just go, whatevs. Yeah, I've got about 50 years left before I'm as cool as him. Yeah, absolutely fucking brilliant. What was I talking about? Adaptive cruise control is fucking amazing, mate. Putting on a VR headset is too cumbersome. Going on Zoom's alright. Zoom is alright. I just like doing like having a camera on. Alright. Mr. Nobody, magic mushrooms. Recent studies have proven. This ain't going on with my fucking. There we go. That's better. Psilocybin reduces anxiety. It may do. It may do in some subjects. I don't really associate having a very hard trip with not feeling anxious in some way. I'm sure it does have some medicinal qualities there. Certainly better than any other sort of drugs, but I don't know, man. I don't think I could hack. I don't think I could hack doing that all the fucking time. Yeah. Our tuna. My cats eat tuna, mate. They'd love you. They give you a lick. Right. There's a male cat and a female cat, so you take your pick. Yeah. George C says, in 100 years' time, Ronald Kuba will be Masters age group, 120 to 125-year-old age group, Bratislava Care Home TT champion. Yeah. He'll be the brand ambassador for Specsavers. He'll be the brand ambassador for adult diapers, won't he? He'll be the brand ambassador for shitting himself whilst not sitting down on a toilet. Yeah. Carl did come in at the right time. Yeah, we were a bit serious earlier on. Now we're just talking about shitting, standing up, and pissing, sitting down, keeping it fresh. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, the next 100 years is going to be pretty interesting, aren't they, lads? How long have we been online for? 51 minutes. All right, we'll keep going. Fuck it. Yeah. What do you think is... what are going to be some of the challenges that we face in the next 50 years? 100 years might be a bit too much to predict. But the next 50 years, what do you think some sort of challenge? What are the big challenges that we're going to face? Looking back, and also, yeah, let's look back over the last 30 years, should we say? What have been the biggest challenges to society, humanity, that we've really had to deal with over the last 30 years? I've got my own ideas about this, but you tell me and we can have a little chat about it. All right. What have been the challenges over the last 30 years? And what are the challenges going to be over the next 50 years, do you reckon? So it's an 80-year period with us sitting here in the middle. What do you reckon? Can you hear that sneezing? She sneezes a lot. Sneezes a lot and coughs a lot for a young bird. What are they like, eh? What are they like? While you do that, I'm going to have a sip of tea. Garfield sponsored again, and Sennheiser sponsored again. We'll drink to that. Let me show you while you give me the answers, I'll show you what I've done to make these pads. These Sennheisers are good, right? But the pads are not that good. They are, but they die relatively quickly. I made some new ones here these things that go completely over, they're old socks, mate. All right. And they were clean. They weren't like the sort of sock you find under a teenager's bed that has the same hardness as a diamond and smells like freshly baked bread. They're clean, right? No weird stains on them. And I cut the top off the sock and I slid the sock over and made a hole for the plug. I've probably spoken about this already in my live stream. I'm old as fuck now, so I forget things. And then the pad in the middle I made out of an old bit of padding, that sort of padding with little domes in it, and I just found it in a bin. So I have got some very, very multiple $100, £300-400 worth of headphones with some bin found padding and some spunky socks on them for the ear pads. And let me tell you this, right? I prefer them to the actual ones that they came with. Yeah, I know. Controversial. Where are we? Right, we'll get back into the chat. Rainer says, what's your prediction on how long it will take the bike industry to start screwing around with different axle standards? Fucking hell, Rainer. I'm still good. I'm thinking about it, but I was considering buying a cross-country mountain bike. Mate, the fucking axles on mountain bikes, absolutely ridiculous. There's like 20 different fucking kinds. And as soon as you buy a frame, you're like, oh, okay, great, I've got this frame I want to buy. As soon as you're about to hit the buy button, it's like, bing, announcement, we've made a new fucking axle standard. You're like, fuck, all right, find that frame. 3 weeks later, that someone's made it, all right, we're going to, bing, new axle standard. Can't even buy one. You can't buy a fucking mountain bike frame now without the axle standard going out of date, within 3 seconds. Absolutely incredible. Housing. Hayden says housing. What? Do you want to expand on that, mate? I do. I think I know what you're talking about, but I think that what exactly is going on with housing at the moment? And is it just there's too many people? Prices are too high. No one's gonna be able to buy a mortgage. No one's gonna be able to buy a mortgage. I work in finance, yeah. No one's gonna be able to get a mortgage. No one's going to be able to buy a house to have as an investment. So there's a very traditionally a very large investment that people would have to be able to pass down to people. There's going to be none of that. So inheritances are going to be falling. The death of the family, of course. Yeah, I think you're right, mate. But what do you mean? Expand on that. Bayo says he hasn't been alive 30 years. Bayo, how old are you? How old are you? Now, cast your mind back a few years ago. I did accidentally groom a 15-year-old boy on here and send him a present in the post. A little bit like Jimmy Savile, but we both agreed that it was innocent there, and if it was taken to court, I wouldn't get in trouble. His name is Chris Hansen. He's still knocking about. He's a bit older now, though, so he's gone off me, I think. But yeah, so Bayo, tell me how old you are before it gets messy again. I don't want to groom you. Mike England says cure cancer. Yeah, I think advances in medical science are really good. I will say free Martin Shkreli though, my man, my matey. Yeah. Ethics in technological advancements. Yeah, Andre. Yeah, I think so. AI is going to need regulating, because if it doesn't, we are fucked, mate. I think again, I don't want to get into political chit chat on here. I'd like to keep political chit chat to like in its own little compartment. I think there needs to be like time for political chit chat in here. But I think that there's a bit of it's not a schism, is it? Because that's a religious split. But I suppose you could call it a schism. There's a bit of a schism happening, isn't there, in social media with who owns it and stuff. Like the things like Twitter and Google and YouTube being directed perhaps by a certain political leaning, and then alternatives to those being created for people who lean in the opposite direction, i.e. things like Parler and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's right. High impact cycling memes, stopping climate change being a launchpad for fascism. I'm not entirely sure what you mean there, mate. Genuinely, could you expand on that? Mass migration from subtropics due to drought. Yeah. I think this fucking corona thing might cane quite a lot of the what's the politically correct way? In fact, I don't care. The third world. Migration, climate change is going to create massive migration flows, and the West is going to protect their borders even more. Yeah. The migration of people is a real one, isn't it? It's a really serious one. Yeah, because there's an incompatibility issue. There's a resentment. There's conflict, clashing. It causes all sorts of fucking shit. Ghetto ingenuity. Yeah. My earphones. Yeah. The 600s. Andre says he prefers the 600s. I've never used a pair of 600s. I went straight. I missed a generation. I went straight from 580s to 650s. The 650s marginally better than the 580s. They felt more lush, a bit more smooth, should we say? A bit more like a bit more. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Improper use of AI. Well, listen, right? It's already happening. Again, some of the shit we'll do a live stream on it specifically, but some of the shit I see at work with AI is fucking nuts. You can really rip people off already in the FX world and stuff like that with AI. So yep, you're right. Las Rash Tech. Cheers, man. Cheers for the compliment there about the addiction stream. Well, I'm glad I could put some things into words that you've been considering from before, because I think a lot of people, a lot of people do that for me, to stuff that I listen to, and I get things get put into words for me that I've been considering and feeling, and when I hear it being put into words in a way that I'd never considered before or not been able to do myself before, it does help. So if I've managed to do that for somebody else, I think I'm sort of, what do you call it, paying it forward or whatever. Glad to have done it for you, mate, and I'll try and continue being that person for as many people as I can. I'm sure you will be as well, man. So all good. Yeah. Larash Tech, that's an interesting point you're saying there. The closer you get to complete destruction through addiction before withdrawing, the more insight you possess, the better you know yourself afterwards. I think so. I think you need to be dragged across a fucking burning bed of broken glass. You need to have stared horror directly in the face, and you need to have experienced pain, real pain and agony, to really understand yourself, because there's no way of knowing how you're going to react to that pain until you go through it, and it's out of your own control. It's out of the consciousness in the front of your mind. It's out of the control of that part of you to know how you're going to react. Something deeper kicks in and reacts for you. It's like if you've ever been in a street fight before, all of a sudden you're reacting how you're almost out of control how you're reacting. Like you might think you can handle it, but actually in reality you get a lot more scared, or vice versa. So you need to have gone through that. You need to have gone through that absolute, like the more agony you go through during the withdrawal, during the lows, the more you know yourself, because you will see and feel a deeper part of yourself that you would have had no reason to have been revealed or triggered before. So yeah, I think you're right there, man. Yeah. Bayo's 28, is he? 28. Well, as we all know, 28 is a great age, because it's the age that you can start doing the Stuart Lee and Richard Herring joke of 28 years old. All right. If any of you fucking Fist of Fun boys are on here. Yep. Or Tormunja. Yep. Malthusian trap. What that is exponential population growth combined with linear growth of resources, vegetation, etc. You end up with overpopulation or starvation. Nick, yep. I think that's very true. We'd have to change the means of production then. Yeah. Andre, do you want a politics bit in the Discord? Or I'll make one after this, mate. So we're going to make the TDI Discord channel is now going to have a politics section, and we're going to call it, right, in his honour for coming up with the idea, we're going to call it the Scaffer Room. Okay. Now I'm sorry if that's not how you pronounce your surname. It probably fucking isn't. All right. But we're going to call it the SKAFAR room. Okay. The Scaffer Room. And the Scaffer Room is for politics only. All right. It's like Malcolm's politics bar. All right. Limmy's character, Malcolm of the politics bar. It'll be like Malcolm's politics bar. Okay. So the Scaffer Room in Andre's honour, we're going to make that after this live stream is done. All right. Population increase. Andre, you are Calpol intro. Fucking hell. Sorry, mate. Sorry. All right, Calpol. Well, we're still going to call it the Scaffer Room. All right, and you are welcome. You'll make you a model, whatever, man. All good. There we go. Sweet. And you are all welcome. If any of you are not on it, get on the TDI Discord. Put a link in the fucking whatever later on. Put an invite there. You'll get on it. We can chat. And we can do stuff like talk. And you can ring me up if you want. And talk to me anytime you want. Yeah. Population, where are we? A population increase, yeah. Pretty much everyone under 30 has to rent. Yep. People over 30 can't even get the ladder. Prices are artificially inflated by investors. Yeah, right. So what I was saying then, Hayden, yeah, I think so. I think you're right. It's very UK-centric. I don't believe there should be limits to something that needs to happen. Hayden, I don't think it's UK-centric. Australia is very similar. I know Japan is very similar to that. People rent their entire lives. It's very difficult to buy places in Japan because it's extortionate and you get fuck all, and it's fucking hard, mate. So I don't think it's UK centric. I think that's a very good point you made. Robert Miles, R.I.P. Yeah, fascism. All right. So Cycling Memes is saying, here we go. All right. Fascism is something that happens off the back of a crisis, like a recession or a war defeat. Climate change is going to cause big panics, and that's the opportunity for fascists to seize power. Okay. All right. I understand the point you're making there, mate. Now, bear in mind, high impact cycling memes. I have a university degree from British University in history, and my focus, my dissertation, was on the rise of Adolf Hitler. No, it wasn't. It ended in the rise of Adolf Hitler, but it started in the Bolshevik Revolution of the early previous century. Okay, so it started really from the rise of Lenin all the way through to the rise of fascism in Germany. So I do know a lot about this, and I've written a dissertation on it. So yes, I agree with you in that sense, but I think it's not that simple. And I don't think it's necessarily fascism, pure fascism, which would rise up in these times. But it is one possibility, yes. If you are talking about fascism in the modern sense that people talk about fascism in anything, some sort of extreme right wing movement as a proposed solution to what's going on, then yep, you're probably right. I'm not gonna start stating my political opinions on here, of course. We'll leave that for the scaffer room, yeah. But I think that during difficult times, it's easier for somebody to come along, offering solutions to people and to take advantage of people who are feeling downtrodden, who are looking for perhaps something to blame, looking for a scapegoat, looking for a solution to their woes, essentially. And it gives rise to things like the cult of personality, which was something which Stalin especially played on. All right, but that led to a lot of death as well, as we know. All right, 50 years. So Carl's saying pollution, industry, oceans being stuffed with plastic. That is fucked, man. I was never. I'm not really sort of. I was never really interested in the environment when I was younger. I didn't give a shit. The world was my bin, just fucking chucking Coke cans everywhere, not giving a fuck. But then when you start to see stuff on the internet and you see actual videos of things, I'm a bit like Judas in that sense. I need fucking evidence. I'm a doubting Thomas. But when you actually start to see it, you're like, oh, hang on a minute. The seas are literally full of plastic. Fucking hell, man. Insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, absolutely insane. A real impact on health. All that micro beads going in your body and shit. Fuck. Yeah. Andre Cowpole. Cowpole intro. Let's just get into this. A bit of Orteca chat. Cowpole intro has said it's the best Orteca track. And the live version of it is the best version of that, which is the best Orteca track. I don't have a best Orteca track, but if I did have one, I would probably like that one there, especially the live version with that fucking kick. That kick is that kick brings up in me it makes me realise how big the universe is, right? When I hear that kick, the fucking reverb on that makes me consider the size, the 93 billion light year width of the universe. That is how good that Cowpole intro live version is. It's insane. Anyway, So me and Calpol mates. Housing problem is not definitely UK centric. It's not. Hey, the Hambini remix. Well, a bit of fucking insight. I started another YouTube channel with for musical stuff that I do, and I was focusing on making tracks for this EP that got released on this record label, and I was doing that for quite a while. So I was doing no other audio apart from that EP. Which I've done that now, so I might finish off his track, yeah, sure. Plus I was moving house all the fucking time and all that shit. But I have not scrapped it, no. I don't scrap anything. I'm like anyone who makes music. If any of you lot have made music before, you're like, let me just look in my little folder of tracks that I've had going since 1998, and you've got 9 billion half-finished tracks that you sometimes go in and go, that's quite good, do a bit more and then forget for a decade. So that's how it goes, man. Rainer says, can I just say this must be the only YouTube channel that effortlessly switches from discussing bottom bracket standards to world history to addiction to geopolitics. Ha ha. Rainer, man or woman, are you a bloke, right? That is a fucking compliment, mate. Cheers. I like to give a bit to everyone. You know what I mean? Not like that. I'm not a slag. Yeah. What's even worse about plastic is the particles are artificial estrogenics. All right, so it's turning us all into it's turn us all a bit. Is it making us hit the wall quicker? Is it making us a bit more like Ronnie? Is it? Frogs, fish get genital deformities. Fucking hell. You lot, I'll tell you what, right? I could never be bored talking to you lot, all right? Because whenever I think, hang on, I think I know everything. I don't, because you introduce something completely nuts to me, like frogs being trannies. And I'm like, right, well, this week I'm studying frog trannies. All right, so yeah, cheers. Lash Rash Tech, I thought you ditched... let's get to the bottom of this statement that he's just made. Thought you ditched Hambini due to the allegations of sexism against him. The link could tarnish your image. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Here's my statement on anything like that. All right? Anything like that. I don't give a fuck, right, what anyone thinks of me. I don't care if people watch my videos and find them offensive. I don't care if people think I'm this or that or want to call me a name or accuse me of being something. I know that I ain't that, all right? So I don't care who I associate with. I don't care about anything like that. Personally speaking, I have no problem with Hambini at all, man. Me and him are fucking great. And I did send him a couple of emails when all that shit was going on to offer my support and say, oh, hey, mate, come on, what the fuck? All right? But just let it be known, I don't give a shit, mate. You say what the fuck? No, I'm 41, mate. I'm not into cancel culture. Oh, you fucking... Oh, I'll tell you what I would like. I'd like to see someone try and fucking cancel me, yeah? Yeah? What are you going to do? Ring up my work? Ring up my work and try and cancel me? Yeah? Do you know where I fucking work, cunt? Do you know what industry I'm in? I work for a fucking broker, an FX broker, yeah? The biggest cunts on the planet work for FX brokers. Try and cancel me, mate. They'll, we're going to talk about him, yeah? Oh, one of your employees said this. They'll be like, yeah, so? We've just fucking destroyed 100 families by telling blokes that they can make money when they can't, yeah? We've just ruined 10,000 people's lives just to make 20 cents commission on each trade. We ain't give a fuck. Yeah? Try and cancel me. Anyway, yeah, I know you winded me up, man. I know you are. Yeah, I thought I'd just put it out there. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna call your worker up and make them scared, make them think, oh no, they're not. Oh no, oh the broker, the fucking. I work for Shylock, mate. Yeah, come on then. Fucking yeah. Anyway, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so that's that. What time is it? Fuck, I've been off an hour and 15. I'll tell you what we're gonna do then. This this conversation didn't go the way I thought it would go. It was actually less bleak than I thought it would be. I'm going to have to go in a minute now because it's 10 o'clock. Fucking 10 o'clock. It's Friday night, right? I've got shit to be doing. So I'm going to cut it off. But tomorrow we're going to get into probably technology. We're going to open up the Scaffer room in a minute on Discord. If any of you want a link to Discord, I'll put it in the video description and I'll stick it on my Instagram channel in a minute. You can scroll back down. You need to get an invite, don't you? I'll set that up. But yeah, so just join the Discord, man. You can ring me up or whatever. It's funny. Yeah. So that's it. All right, lads, I'm going to go. But that's been fucking funny. That was good. I'll see you tomorrow, yeah? All right.